Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello all, welcome to our NPTEL online certification courses on engineering drawing and computer graphics. We are covering module number 4, lecture number 38. It's about orthographic projections, especially projection of planes. If two-dimensional objects are present, how to visualize these views. So, in the last classes, we tried to look at projection of planes, especially if there is a rectangle and that rectangle, if it is reoriented with the x axis, y axis in a specialized way, how to construct these views. In today's class, we will learn more about triangles. For example, a set square, if it is reoriented with horizontal planes and vertical planes, how do they really look like? For example, if we are having a 30 degrees, 60 degrees set square. So, this is the combination. So, one of the angle is 90 degrees, other one is 30 degrees, other one is 60 degrees, the long set square what usually we go with. This set square is a two-dimensional object for our simplification, and perhaps let us assume that the longest side having 100 mm length. If it is having 100 mm length, 10 centimeters, and it is in the vertical plane, the longest side, and 30 degrees is inclined to horizontal plane, while its surface is 45 degrees inclined to vertical plane. Draw its projections. For example, this is the one longest set square what we can have, and this longest one on vertical plane, it is in vertical plane. So, vertical plane, if we are considering this one, the longest side is in the vertical plane in this way. And the second thing is, it is 30 degrees inclined to horizontal plane. So, horizontal plane is in this perpendicular direction. So, what we have to do is either in this direction 30 degrees or perhaps in this way 30 degrees we have to align. So, the vertical plane is this, the longest one is on the vertical plane in, and the longest one is making some 30 degrees angle with the horizontal plane. So, if I am projecting that onto horizontal plane, there is a 30 degrees thing, and its entire surface after that, this entire surface right now perpendicular to the vertical plane. But now, if we are making something like in this direction 45 degrees, how does that really look like in the projected planes like normal planes, top side planes. So, that is the thing what we are trying to construct it. Let us look at it step by step. In that case, first of all, we have to realign this entire set square into right perpendicular planes, so that we will be in a position to draw it. The problem statement is this entire vertical one on the vertical plane, and it makes 30 degrees angle, and then it is flipped by 45. If that is the case, we have to reverse this entire problem. First flip it by 45 degrees and then turn it back 30 degrees. From there begin the journey, construct the remaining views. So, for the purpose what we are trying to do is draw an xy line in the vertical plane, the entire set square, the longest one line. So, we first construct that one. this is 90 degrees angle, this one 60 degrees and this one 30 degrees. And look at the points in the frontal plane A prime, B prime and C prime. This always have projections downwards and this point also downwards. If we are looking from top view of this is the frontal plane. From top view, it looks like a very thin strip, where A, B coincides to A and B points. Similarly, this C point, C prime, whatever we are looking in the front view, projected all the way to C. So, the actual length what we are going to see is this projected length, that is we are going to see it in the top view. Now, this has to be rotated. So, this is the from frontal view, this plane, this AC, when we are looking at that direction, that entire surface has to be flipped in 45 angle. Here we can see that surface is 45 degrees inclined to VP. If that is the case, any inclination with respect to vertical plane, we can perceive it only or observe it only in the horizontal plane. In that case, this AB line, for the same line, we make it 45 degrees angle with the horizontal plane, draw it as a top view. In top view, we can observe this inclination angle with the vertical plane. So, that A point, B point and C point, we can draw it. Now, reproject this entire AB lines and C line, and similarly reproject this entire C points, A points and B points. If we do that, the intersection points from B prime intersection, from B intersection, this one, from A intersection and A prime intersection gives me one more point there. Similarly, C projection all the way there and C prime projection to that. So, now call these points as A1 prime, B1 prime and C1 prime. This is the first projection or rotation what we made with vertical plane. After that, because two rotations we have to do, one is first aligning this entire vertical one, then rotating it by 30 degrees, then flipping it by 45 degrees. If we want to reverse it, first we have to flip that 45 degrees which we have already done, then we have to turn it by 30 degrees. That is the way we have to proceed. Now, already this longest one we have constructed. This entire thing has to be rotated by 30 degrees. So, A1 prime, A1, A1, B1, B1 prime. So, this length whatever from this point to this point, that length, the same length we are going to keep it here. However, this has to be turned around by 60 degrees, otherwise A1 prime, B1 prime has to make 30 degrees. Up to that we will rotate this object. When we rotate that object, this A1 point map to that, B1 point map to that, C1 point A1 to C1 whatever the arc, B1 prime to C1 prime whatever the arc, can construct this C1 prime. This is the way we re-rotate that object. So, now the last step is project this entire A1 all the way down, because this set square supposed to be on vertical plane. So, the longest one always be in touch with this vertical plane. So, A1 prime meeting this x axis, B1 prime meeting at this point, project this C1 prime all the way down, because it is supposed to make 45 degrees with VP. So, that projection determines our C1. So, we will have this A1 point, B1 point and C1 point. This is the way we make these rotation for these objects. Let us construct that on our sheet. First of all, on the drawing sheet, construct a horizontal line, xy axis. This is the xy axis. In that axis, 100 mm long we have to use first one. So, let us leave a gap, begin from top, hundred mm, somewhere there. This is the one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 here. Construct that. Name this point A prime in the vertical plane, B prime, and we know one angle supposed to make 30 degrees, other one is 60 degrees. So, let us construct the angle 30 degrees thing. So, join this. The other angle supposed to make 30 degrees. So, 30 degrees means here. Now, join these points. The other one is making 60 degrees. So, we made a mistake here. It is not a equilateral triangle. So, it is supposed to make 60 degrees, somewhere there. So, join these lines. So, our triangle now let us call C prime. If we are projecting all the way up in the this will be the length of our projection. in the top view. So, let us call this is A, B point also map there, C point also maps there. Now, on the same xy plane, we want to touch this AB line, which is making 45 degrees angle. So, what we can do is, on the axis itself we can construct it. At 45 degrees this AB has to touch. So, if that is the case, pick a point here somewhere from there. So, from this point let us call AB point, it is supposed to make 45 degrees when it is in the vertical plane. Join these points, transfer the same length A to C, this length has to be transferred, and connect these lines, and this is making 45 degrees angle, and this point is C. Now, transfer all these points, the projection, similarly this C point also projected there. Now, we can project this C point and A point. So, C point cuts C axis and A point cuts that axis there. So, this will be the A point. So, now a new notation, this is A1 prime, this is C1 prime, and this point which is projected. So, this is what we call a locus and this is the projection. So, the locus point is here B1 prime. Now, let us join these points. Now, this entire object A1C, A1B has to be made into 30 degrees angle. So, what we will do is, from here we will make a 30 degrees angle. Let us consider the point, extreme point, which is projected onto this line. So, let us assume this is the point. From that point we will make it 30 degrees. So, 30 degrees line is this. Let us join it. In that A1 prime, B1 prime, whatever this length we have, this one, that one has to be mapped. So, our B1 point is A1 point here, C1 point will be the same by transferring from here whatever the radius we have. Join these by lines. Now, their projections, if we are looking, let us look at their projections. A1 goes there, C1 goes there, B1 prime goes there. We want to keep this on the vertical plane. So, this one maps to B1 and this point maps to A1 and this line maps to or the locus if we are constructing from C, this point let us call C1. If we are joining these lines, this is the front view, top view of that object. Just to summarize, for example, if we have this set square, this is the one, and let us consider the vertical plane is this object. If this is the vertical plane and this is the horizontal plane, and this longest one, if it is aligned in this way, the set square, this set square, we are aligning it with the vertical plane in that way. Initially, when it is 90 degrees, you just see it like only a line. After that, we can make it into a 30 degrees angle, then the square looks like this, and after that, if we are flipping it by 45 degrees, it looks in that way. So, front view, now it is skewed kind of triangle. Similarly, from top view also it will be a skewed triangle. So, what you are actually observing is top view of that set square, and that top view here we are seeing, and that front view one is seeing there. With that, let us move on to the next example. In this next example, instead of a triangle, we are looking at a pentagon. So, it is a pentagon of 30 mm side, and one of the side is resting on horizontal plane. On one of its sides with its surfaces 45 degrees inclined to horizontal plane. If that is the case, draw its projections when the side in HP makes 30 degree angle with vertical plane. So, let us look at the solution. This is the typical pentagon. It has 30 mm sides. So, this one is 30 mm. We know how to construct a pentagon from this inscribing a circle or circumscribing a circle, or perhaps the other way, like from semicircle method also we can construct this pentagon. The other way is by knowing the angle between these two sides also we can construct this pentagon. Now, its sides are resting on HP and one of its sides with its surface 45 degrees inclined to HP. So, one of the sides, if it is making 45 degrees, in the front view we will see that 45 degrees. If it is resting on the horizontal plane, we see the hexagon completely, for example, a pentagon completely. If the pentagon is completely resting on the horizontal plane, we see that entire shape. By rotating it suitably, one of the edge we can make it like 45 degrees or 30 degrees, 60 degrees and so on. So, top view it will be like that. If we are looking from front view, it will be just a line where B point, C point, D points map to this B prime, C prime, D prime respectively. So, first construct this pentagon, after that project it, get the projected length. Once the projected length is available, we use the same projected length, but with a 45 degrees, because it is making one of its sides with its surfaces 45 degrees inclined to horizontal plane. Anything inclined to horizontal plane, we can be in a position to see it in the vertical plane. So, on the vertical plane, we have that 45 degrees. After drawing that, we project the complete points from A point map there, B point, C point, E point and D point. These are mapped to respectively A prime points, C prime E prime points, D prime E prime points. So, for example, let us look at A point goes on to this projected line, A prime also goes on to that projected line. Next B 1 projected to that and B prime also projected to there. In that way, we will be in a position to construct this pentagon. After 45 degrees, this rotation where we have constructed this front view and top view. Now, we are going to align one of the sides, it can be AE1 or it can be A1, B1 sides also. So, whatever that side with vertical plane, if it is making, naturally any angle making with vertical plane, we will see it in the horizontal plane. So, that angle we will align it. So, the side, let us consider A1, B1 side, we are going to pick it, align it with 30 degrees angle from the horizontal plane, transfer this length A1, B1, A1, B1 there. Similarly, A1, E1 length, transfer it by using compass. Then B1, C1 and C1, D1 also transferred in the same way. So, we just have to rotate this by 30 degrees. So, remaining sides also rotated by the same amount. Once that is done, this entire pentagon will be turned into that direction. Once that is done, again project these lines from E, C, A, B and C, and already we have rotated into 45 degrees in the vertical plane. So, that with horizontal plane, the angle whatever it is making, that we are observing, have those locus points where these A intersect with A, called A1 prime. Similarly, where B1 intersects with B prime, called B1 prime. Similarly, C1, D1, by projecting locus points, we can get these points. Join them, we will get this pentagon, which is meeting this criteria like 45 degrees inclined to HP and the side making 30 degrees with vertical plane. So, in the next class, we will learn more about these sections planes, if they are projected onto different things, especially if auxiliary planes can be constructed, how these views really comes in. That we will see in the next class. Thank you.